Hi, John.
Hello.
Hi. It must be exciting to be able to talk about a story that, it's always a joy to talk about
Yeah,
these stories that just leave you with a good uplifting feeling.
totally. I mean, it is what I experienced hearing the story initially. It's what I experienced reading the script. It's what I've experienced meeting the real people. It's an incredible story, and and nowadays, maybe always, we need uplifting stories. We need stories that move us and inspire us and just give us hope. But it kind of feels like nowadays we need it even more. And yeah, it's a real honor and privilege to be able to have a part in telling a story like this.
You're one of the people we have to thank for putting this together as a producer of the film. So, can
Yeah,
you share the first time you heard about it?
sure. I was meeting with. I have a funny story about this. I was at Warner Brothers, and I was the president of production at Warner Brothers, and it's kind of it's a great job, and it's also the kind of job where it's kind of silly because you can meet with anybody. You really can. You can sort of reach out to anyone and have a meeting with almost anybody just because you work at Warner Brothers. And so I said to my assistant at the time, who's now a producer in her own right, a young woman, who's awesome. Her name is Samantha Nissenbaum. And I said to her, "Who would you like to meet? Is there anybody you work so hard for me? You're so awesome. Is there anybody that you would really like to meet?" And she said, "Yes, please, Dave Matthews. I've been to 100 of his shows, and I'm a huge Dave Matthews fan. If I could meet with just Dave Matthews, Dave Matthews." She was crazy about Dave Matthews. So I was like, okay. So I called up his manager, who's a woman named Eileen Feldman. She represents actors and musicians and talented folks. And I was like, hey, would Dave Matthews ever come in and have a meeting with me? Would that be possible? And she said, yeah, sure. He would love, yeah, absolutely. So again, silly job. I could meet with kind of whoever I wanted. And I made sure to be 5 minutes late to the meeting so that my assistant and Dave were just hanging out together. and and then I had this meeting with Dave Matthews, and I was a casual. I mean, I like Dave Matthews music, but I was sort of a casual fan. We had this amazing hour and a half meeting, and he's hilarious. He's like a musician, stand-up comedian, storyteller, raconteur. He was just awesome. And we talked about Hollywood, we talked about life, we talked about fatherhood. And at the end of it, he said, after the hour and a half was up, he's like, I should probably mention a film project. I mean, that's why I came in here. And I said, sure. Now, at the time, working at Warner Brothers, they wanted Batman and Harry Potter and Superman, these giant global, Sherlock Holmes, which I had the good opportunity to work on, these giant blockbusters. And he pitched me this incredible story, the story of Ordinary Angels, and I was just blown away. True story. Sharon Stevens, hairdresser, decides that she's just going to save this little girl, and she moves mountains to do so. And I was inspired by it, and I thought it was awesome. And he said, "Oh, so I'll send you the script." So he sent me the script, and I read it, and I was blown away, and I was completely moved. But I did have to call him at the time and say, "Listen, Dave, I love this. This is awesome. I think this is a movie that's going to get made, and good on you. But it's not the kind of movie that Warner Brothers that we're doing right now." And he understood. And then I think I went back to making, Wonder Woman or something. and but when I left Warner's in 2018, I called Dave up and I said, "Hey man, is that script still available? Is there something that could I join you on this and help to get it made?" And he said I could, and it was. And we linked arms in 2018. And shortly thereafter, I sold the script to, introduced it to Lionsgate, to Nathan Kahane over there, and to Aaron Westerman, and they fell in love with the story too. I mean, it was the little story that could, it's sort of anyone who came into contact with it and then read the script, heard about the story, read the script, immediately fell in love, and like that passion was inside of them, and they wanted to tell the story. So Aaron and Nathan and Aaron at Lionsgate, they read it, they loved it. They said, "We're going to make this. We just have to put it together in the right way." And they were the ones who introduced me. We did a draft of the script, and then fixed a couple of things, and then they introduced me to Kingdom, to John Irwin and Andy Irwin and Kevin Downs and Jon Gunn. And I'm so glad that they did, because that ultimately, that was the team that together we made Ordinary Angels.
Well, Warner Brothers lost.
I know, I know, I know. They're doing okay. They've got Harry Potter 110 that they're working on.
It doesn't compare. I'm just saying. But
Yeah, no, I know, I know.
no,
It's a
I
good one.
love
Listen, it found the right home, and the Lionsgate people have been amazing, and we're about to open it on 2,900 screens. I mean, that's incredible. So, yeah, they've been awesome and super supportive, and they found the right home for sure.
Has the family have they watched the film already?
I have the Schmidt family and Sharon Stevens. Yeah, they saw it. We showed it to them in Kentucky, and there have been a bunch of screenings that Sharon's been to. There was a big screening at the Southeast Christian Church where the real event took place, and the helicopter landed in the parking lot. And they loved it. It was incredibly heartwarming. It's always a little nervous making when you're showing it's a true story and you're showing the real people, the movie ultimately. But they saw it, they loved it, they loved the way that they were portrayed. They thought it was done with real sensitivity and honesty, and some humor, and they were fully in support.
Based on the film, Mr. Ed Schmidt's not much of words. What were his
Yeah,
words? What was his feedback?
I think he just gave it a thumbs up in the end. I think he gave it a thumbs up. And he said that wasn't, that was good. He is a man of few words. Sharon's a lot more vociferous. Sharon's uses more words than Ed, and she loved it, and she's been so supportive, and she's an amazing person. She's inspirational. The fact that she just threw herself into this, um just saw this newspaper article, all true, and just said, you know what, I'm gonna do everything I can to save that little girl, to help save that little girl. It's just amazing. So she's an incredible person.
I admire her. It was one of those things where she kept getting this negativity, like, or pushed, even
Yeah,
from Ed, and yet she didn't let go. She kept going.
she's 100% like that, and that's definitely something that Sharon would say, which is that she doesn't take no for an answer, and she really did. She threw herself into their lives, and I think, much like the movie shows, I think it was initially a little uncomfortable for Ed, to have this person that was just sort of had just dropped into his household, and was there and active, but he quickly realized, and saw that she was fighting to save his daughter's life. She was there with a purpose, and to do good, and he welcomed her. And she's just a force of nature. She did so many things. She actually, the real Sharon Stevens, threw concerts, for charity for Michelle. It's true that she got not one plane, she didn't stop there, but she got 5 planes. I mean, that's all true, that she found 5 CEOs. And we had to take it out of the movie just for length, but it's really cool. There's another aspect of it that's cool, which is, um, Sharon recognized from being a hairdresser and having secretaries of these CEOs in her chairs, that she would hear them talk about, how instrumental they were to the CEO's calendar and schedule and getting stuff done and meetings. And it was through those conversations with these secretaries that she realized, oh, they're actually the ones behind, everything. If you want to get to these CEOs, they're the gatekeepers, and they're the ones that work the schedules and the phones and everything else. So she, it's all true too, taking the muffins and sitting across from them, and showing them Michelle's picture, and um, so yeah, she's a force of nature. That's unquestionable.
If only we were a little bit of Sharon, what a life
Yeah,
this would be. What a world.
yeah, we can take that from the movie. Yeah,
Yeah. I'm gonna practice and applying it. So there's a start.
me too.
So I understand that unfortunately Michelle um did lose her battle um
Hmm.
in 2021. she, however, I assume knew this was in development?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you totally tragic, and but she lived, an extraordinary life, and a lot of additional years, and yeah, she was excited about the movie, and I think really excited to have a story told about, her community and how her community came together to help to save her. So she was a local celebrity for a long time.
And can we talk a little bit of the getting Alan into this film? I
Sure.
understand you were involved in that.
Yes. Yeah. I was, listen, like everybody, Alan kind of exploded onto the scene with Reacher, with season one of Reacher, and I was watching that show and amazed by him, and he's a great action star, and we're actually going to do another movie together, an action movie called Motor City that we're going to film this year. But when I met him, I zoomed with him. I called his agent and asked to meet him, and we had a Zoom as you do. I think he was in Florida at the time, or Toronto, maybe where they're shooting Reacher, and we talked about movies and action films and all things under the sun. And in having a conversation with him, he revealed that he's a man of faith, number one, that he's a father of three, that fatherhood is really important to him, and he's a loving husband. And I just got this real sense of him away from the action stuff, because he certainly does that incredibly well. But he's really this caring, loving father, husband, Christian, right? And so it was strong. You could feel that resonating. And I said to him while we were zooming, um, listen, I haven't cleared this by Lionsgate, or I haven't cleared it with the director even, but we're having this connection in the Zoom, and I'm hearing your background and your history and who you are as a person. Let me tell you about this movie that I'm working on, and it's a great script, and I think you'll really respond to it. And again, it was one of those we've been talking about. It's one of those scenarios where you just start talking and telling the person the story and what really happened and how compelling it is and how amazing Sharon Stevens is and how interesting Ed Schmidt is, and then the community coming together and the true story of everybody running to that parking lot and with their shovels and their brightest blankets and coats and shoveling that parking lot out and then laying down the that patchwork, that colorful patchwork, so that the helicopter pilot could see it. It's just an incredibly compelling story, and I pitched it to him, and he was you know captivated by it, and wanted to read the script right away. So he did, and he called me and said, I want in. I want in. I want to play Ed Schmidt. And I'm so glad that Jon Gunn embraced him, of course, and Lionsgate did as well. And here we are. And he, I think, has had an opportunity now to show people that he can do more than just knock out bad guys.
That's right. Well, thank you so much for your time and discussing Ordinary Angels. Um, I
Thank
had
you.
tears and very happy tears.
Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you so much for coming out and seeing the movie and for supporting it. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you, Jon. Have a good one.